Hello and welcome back to a new tutorial. In this tutorial series we will check out the X-Craft Embraer 145. You can use this tutorial for the 135, 140, 145 and the letter C 650 by X-Craft. For that we make a flight from Chicago Midway to Lexington. We're flying in the United Express livery, operated by Commute Air in the new blue livery. So first, you're in the cockpit, everything is cold and dark. To give you a first impression, I'll just go through some basic steps in the cockpit, and then I'll show you how to start the aircraft. If you're not interested in the setup of the aircraft, you can just skip it. The description of the time will be in the video description. Okay, so we start in the overhead panel. The overhead panel is divided into sections for electric, fuel, fire and APU control, the power plants, so the engine starters, and over here the ice protection and the condition panel. Down here we got the lighting and the hydraulic panel. In the top of the overhead we've got the circuit breaker panel, which is not operable, so it's completely useless. On the glare shield we've got the autopilot panel, the EFIS panel and some light controls over the first officer and the captain. Down here we've got the PFDs and the MFDs for captain and first officer. We've got the engine display, a standby instrument and two communication panels. That was a killer. Down here we've got two Tacton FMS installed. One is the custom by X-Craft, which they use in real life. It's a Tacton FMC. So don't mix it up with some other FMCs which may be installed in an Embraer 145, and the default X-Plane navigation FMC. We won't use this today. This tutorial shows you how to operate in the Tacton FMC. Down in the pedestal we've got the thrust levers for engine 1 and 2, the gas lock flaps, a thrust rating panel which we'll go ahead and see later, a second panel which isn't operable in the aircraft, and cabin pressurization such as a trim panel. Now you've got an overview over the cockpit and you're made better and orientate where which is. So let's go ahead and start the aircraft. First we go into the overhead panel, go to ALAC, which is over here, and turn on battery 1 and 2. Now you hear some systems starting up and you see the warnings. Just by clicking them they will disappear. So you see the engine display and the FMS are turned on, but our avionics aren't, so we're gonna turn on avionics 1 and 2. Now you can watch them. They will initiate itself, and there it is. Now take some seconds. In the meantime we go over to the side and say ground ops, remove the before flights, turn on the GPU and open the door, and we can take our ground equipment. Open the door and the rear door. You can close the window again. So looking from the outside we see the baggage door is opened, the service door is opened, the GPU is here, our ground equipment and the chocks are applied, and our stair door is open. In reality The most airlines got it with a normal door, so the gateway can attach to the aircraft. X-Craft does it with the stairs, so it's not possible. Just, Okay, so now we hear the systems working and we see the displays are all initiated. You can go back into the overhead panel, turn on the fuel pumps and select the B pumps. GPU can go to on and we can do a fire test. We go into the fire panel and press test. We see here the cautions, a pull-up warning. Here is initiate fire and the reverses. All of our ice protections are open, and you can we can release the button. So that was a test for the fire and some other systems in the aircraft. You can just check them. It was a pull-up warning and the fire warnings. Over to the overhead, check the power plants are both set to stop and the covers are in the upright position. You can turn on the windshield, it's over here. Select the APU to on and the alert pumps to auto. If you now want to start the APU, you can turn on the logo, the fasten seatbelt, the no smoking sign, and the navigation sign. To start the APU, you just hold and click, choose start, and you can release the button. Watch down here, you say APU, here the percentage and here the temperature of the APU. If it's green, the APU is available and you can insert the generator for it. Now it's green. APU gen and leave the GPU. You can now deactivate the GPU and the jogs in case if you don't need them anymore. So, got here some warnings I forgot to update. Now we come to the interesting part. APU is started, we've got fuel, etc. in our SIMRI flight plan and we'll enter it in the FMC. Before we do it, we just type in our values. We are commute air 123. We are cruising at 31,000 feet. And our final cruise altitude 31,002. Go to status. You see the IRAC cycle. It's 2103, which is the current IRAC cycle. Okay, made this FMC is on the correct state, but I had forgot to update the explain default FMC. And you can go to departure. Departure, the aircraft already sees, okay, here, you're at Midway, that's correct. Then you can get the weather for Midway. Today it's runway 13 left. We select it. We select the SID. We see in SimReef we got a direct, but we don't want to fly direct, we fly the Midway 5. And okay, we've got no transitions. So, departure is set. I will check the weather shortly for leaving the position for the correct runway, but until now it's correct. So, now you are in the MCDU index page. And many of you may think, oh no, what is all that for? The FMC is really good to use if you got an overall idea how to do it. You got departure and arrival. You've got the init page, which was the page where we were before, a progress page, we come to it later. Then you can edit your SID and your star after inserting them. You've got your route edit, where you can edit your waypoints. Your radio, where you can set up frequencies, your squawk, etc. the autopilot page where you can enter the autopilot values, and the performance page. Perf. Okay, so you now know where all these buttons are for, and I tell you now how to set up the correct values. So we're departing Chicago Midway 13 left, we already set that. And we arrive at Lexington. You can enter with your keyboard by clicking into the pad, Lexington, or tapping the tap button. Select star, press select. That's the transition we're gonna take. Select runway, it's runway 09 at the moment. Select approach, we would take the RNAV. If the airport is equipped with an ILS, an RNAV, for example, you could select now if you want to do the ILS or the RNAV. Lexington on the runway 09 only is equipped with an RNAV approach, so we can only select that. Press select. Now you've got some transitions. We're coming from India uniform, which isn't here, so we're gonna select any of them and flying a direct later on. Approach transition selected. Now you can go to the route page. What we won't do, we go into arrival. We go to star edit, and we delete the last 2 waypoints, and you will see an approach why we've done that. Okay, page 2, Lexington and Rebar, that's okay. So now we can go to a route and say add route waypoints. Now it's important. Is your waypoint a VOR, a NDB, or a fix? A fix is a normal waypoint. VOR and NDB should be clear, and you can enter a lattlon, so a coordinate. We don't do it. We just make it with the fix, the NDB, and the VORs. So type in here, and we say we want to fly to ER RND, EA RND, oh that was wrong, ND, EA RND, that's correct, and say enter. Now latitude and longitude, the aircraft, search the correct position and enter it here. Altitude, what's that? That's the altitude you need on a specific waypoint to make calculations. This aircraft is very manually and can't calculate the VNAV page by itself, and you have to enter the values. You get these by just clicking on the different waypoints onto your SimReef map. We say 16500. No, that was one too much. Say altitude and press save. So we aren't flying any airways today, but for example, if you would take an airway from Orange to the next waypoint, which is Elarn, you type now in Elarn, you type in the altitude you need, which is 208, say 20800, type it in here, say airways, and you would see the airway here. I can just show you how it would look like if there is an airway. I made a complete new route just to show you how to enter a airway. So we're flying from the waypoint Maroon via Yankee 150 to Tolgi. So enter here Maroon. It's a waypoint near Frankfurt in Germany. Then say Tolgi. Then say airway. And now you look for 150, which is down here. And be careful, here is page 1 of 1. It can be possible that there are multiple pages and you can switch through them with Pro and Next. If that is correct, press select. Now you see airways 150 from Maroon to Tolgi. Tolgi is already set up, so we say from Maroon. Now you can save it. And now you got your waypoint and your airway. And that's just how you enter an airway in the Tactum FMC. So, and now back to our route. So, now we're at our third waypoint of the route. We enter the name again, it's Embraer. We say it's a fix. And we want to cross Emily at 287 and 00. And next say save. From Emily we're gonna fly direct to ERJ. We just search ERJ here on the SimReef map to get the correct waypoint with the correct altitude. ERJ is gonna cross at 31,000, so we enter ERJ. It's a fix, it's the fast fix at 3100. 31000. That's right. Altitude and save it. Now it's gonna interesting. We're flying direct India uniform. India uniform is the VR of Louisville. You can click on the waypoint or on the VOR in SimReef and you see it's a VOR and you see the frequency. So now we say VOR, check 5 is VOR, IIU is set up at 2800 and say save. That's now the last waypoint of our route. You can go to route edit and you see all of our waypoints are in here. Now say select and select the correct speed. We want to fly it at 270. Enter it here and say update. Now all of our speeds down the route get updated to 270. If you now say, oh no, I want to fly Emily at, let's say, 2800. 2800 would be faster than Concorde. You can say update, and all of the waypoints below that will get updated. And that's how you can enter a speed. Just say we want to fly and update. So now you got the correct speed. You can go back and airways. Here you see all of your airways. We don't use any airway today, so we can completely ignore that page. If you would fly with an airway, you can look at this page if the airways are set up correctly. Next, we're gonna do a perf, and we'll set all of our weights in here. So, as you see, we've got no weight menu. That's related to if you wanna have more passengers, you don't have to enter it anywhere. You enter it in your FMC and it will update immediately. Okay, MAC, we let it for the moment. Then we say, okay, we've got, I don't know, 32, that's correct now. Num pass, that's the number of passenger. Entry accepted and it's updated. We've got a block fuel of 33,000. We enter it at here later on, so payload weight, sorry I forgot about it, is for a 3,000. The fuel is 33,000. So you see total weight, you see your current trim, and you see later the trim you need. Trim required is 7 up. And you can just trim up to 7. You see the aircraft is calling you trim 7.0 up. You see your V speeds. You can click here at not selected. That is your thrust rating. Your thrust rating you can take just T01 for departure. Then you go to perf 2, missing cruise value speed. Okay, we just enter it 270. Cruise altitude is set here. So, and that's telling us, okay, I recommend you using a MAC number. You could now enter a MAC number, or you say it's okay, we take the knots indicated airspeed. Okay, so our cruise wind is 230 with let me have a look, 20 knots. Entry accepted. You can go to perf 3. You can enter a predicted landing weight. You can take a look in SimBrief, and when you got it, you can enter it here. So, once everything is set up, you can just take a look to your route. So, you may notice by looking, oh, you should press tab, on your MFD, there is no route. Why is it? Okay, tell it you go to progress and you say execute. Flight plan exec is done. So now you load your flight plan. Now at the page you will last a long time, or basically all of the time on is the flight plan page, but we're gonna see the page later because there is something I had to tell you before. If you make an edit onto your route because you're saying, oh no, the wind changed and I want to depart from 22 left, you enter 22 left. SID waypoints are cleared because there is no SID. If there is a SID, you could enter a new SID, or you have to enter a new SID, otherwise you don't have a SID. And you go to progress and execute again. Now you've got a message, flight plan not initialized. Go to init, initialize FMC. Go to progress, press exec, and it's done. Here you got your flight plan. So now you can look through all of these steps, and you can enter or manipulate all of these by clicking select. Okay, and as before, if there is anything not correct, enter new value and say update. So for example, we're at earned and I want to do 260 speed, say update, and it's updated. Be careful, all of the waypoints below are updated with it, and that's why I would recommend, if you want to use another speed for only one waypoint, enter it manually and do the rest. Okay, now we're gonna take a look. You can use the pop out, it's okay. Oh, and you can use the pop out onto another window. That's interesting. So now you press full plan. Now you're on the plan mode. Okay. Once we're here, there are some things I want to tell you. First, I love these here. It's so well done. You see the pixels with the different colors in red, blue and green, and it's so incredible good, and I just love just staring at the pixels. Another thing I don't like, this isn't a custom navigation display. Yes, the instrument itself is custom, but that's basically it. The route is shown with a default line and default things, and that's so sad because it just looks awkward. So we go to map, not to the checklist. If you would activate waypoint, the texture quality is so bad. It's better than in default because it's slightly updated, but it's definitely not good. Okay, it's a tutorial and it's not a review, just for you to know. Now you can click through the waypoints. I would recommend a higher zoom rate and deactivate all of these things. Okay, you depart here, fly the earned over here, Erico, and that's why I hate default navigation display. What's that? Okay, you know what I mean. That's why flying online in this aircraft can be a challenge, because you sometimes have to enter new values or just make some corrections to the route, because it's not correct what the aircraft shows you. That's not that funny. Okay, gonna ignore it. What this is and how you fix it, we'll take a look when landing. So you see one route is going up, then we're flying this ridiculous, I don't know what it is, and then to the airport. So we should fly from Royston over here, or we should fly this as a transition, but in looking good and unflyable. So we're gonna take a look at these later on. No, can you? So then we go to full plan again, and you got the possibility to enter the terrain, a vertical situation display, which I really like, and which got my favorite style too. Here you can see it. And okay, these stuffs isn't operable. So over to you here, you can zoom in and out, or you can do it here. Okay, I thought they would be clickable. No, they aren't. Sorry, you can't do it here because it's not clickable, but there are some mobs. You can zoom here or here. Now we want to set a current altimeter, which is down here. Is it a thing the captain only can? Yeah, it's a thing the captain only can do. So, enter it, and want to have my yoke back. Okay. Now the FMC is set up, the aircraft is set up, and you could go fly. And that's it with this video. Pushback and all of the automotive finger just attached to the aircraft. It's fine. I had made nothing, but it came. And it's buggy. Thank you, B25. Okay, gonna ignore it. I hope this video helped you flying ERJ, set up the FMC. In part 2 we're gonna depart, and part 3 we're gonna land. If you want to see how I fixed the, I just call it interesting route, you see it later in part 3. Part 3 is coming in 2 weeks on Friday at 30 PM UTC. So thank you very much for watching, have a great day, bye bye.